Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am a usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudohoyan. The Senzo Meyiwa trial is fraught with a lot of irregularities. This cannot by any means be said to be a fair trial. You'll recall that when these people were first charged, nothing about Kelly Kumalo being the mastermind was ever mentioned. But just mid-trial, you know, Gininda tells us now that Kelly was the mastermind behind this whole thing, which is an improper procedure. You cannot just mid-trial be told that, so somebody just added on, and for that matter, added on as a mastermind. So there have been a lot of, tricks and monkey tricks surrounding this trial by Gininda, by none other than Gininda. Gininda is central to all this problem that we are seeing in this trial. So I'd like you to listen to a clip by Advocate Mnisi when he exposed all this rot. Take a listen to this.
Have been arraigned to this court to answer the allegations that are contained in the summary of the substantial fact. And there is nowhere in the summary of the substantial fact where Kelly Kumalo is mentioned as a kingpin. Instead, in the summary of the substantial fact, Kelly is mentioned as a victim. Now, all along, throughout the testimony of Brigadier Gininda, Kelly Kumalo is branded as the kingpin, the person who organized the killing of the deceased, which is the reason why I am asking if at the very inception and the drawing and the preparation of the summary of the substantial facts, the state was aware that Kelly was a kingpin. So that when it decided to draw this summary of substantial fact, that should have been a factor to be taken into account, so that when these accused persons come and answer on the allegations that are against them, they know that amongst others, we are before this court to answer allegations that we were in consult. We worked together with Kelly Kumalo to assassinate Kelly Senzo Meyiwa, and that is not there. They are now expected to answer on something that was initially not put to them at the beginning of the trial. Remember, Madu, when the charge is being put against this accused person, the summary of the substantial fact is also read into the record. That is.
There you have it. There you have it. That is Advocate Mnisi. You see, when a trial begins, there is something called the summary of substantial facts. The summary of substantial facts gives a broad outline of the case that the accused person or persons have or are facing. So the summary of substantive facts will outline that you are being charged with the murder of Senzo Meyiwa in that at Fosso Ras on such and such a day, you so and so together with your co-accused were engaged in an act which resulted in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. That is basically what the summary of facts is. That summary of facts forms part of the evidence because it is read into the record at the beginning of the trial together with the charges that these people face. So in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, none of this was done. That is what Mnisi is saying there. The summary of substantial facts does not mention Kelly Kumalo as the kingpin or mastermind. Kelly Kumalo in that summary of facts appears to be a victim, right? A victim of a robbery gone wrong in terms of the version that is unfolding before the Pretoria High Court, the version of docket 636. So Kelly Kumalo was a victim together with those who were in the house. That is what the summary of facts was all about at the beginning of this trial. The accused persons were then read those charges. And Kelly Kumalo, at no stage was Kelly Kumalo, mentioned as being part of, the plot to kill Senzo Meyiwa, let alone being a mastermind. But we see as the trial unfolds, Gininda tells the court that he has identified Kelly Kumalo as the mastermind. You'll recall that he also came back with that evidence about the WhatsApp messages between Zandi and Kelly Kumalo a year before Senzo was killed, in which WhatsApp messages she clearly indicates that she is sick and tired of Senzo and will probably want to get rid of him. He also says money was paid or exchanged hands at the Basotho hostel, and this money was allegedly from Kelly Kumalo to pay the actual perpetrators of the crime. So you see, this cannot by any means be said to be a fair trial. At the beginning of the trial, the prosecution has a duty to make full disclosure of the charges that the accused persons have to face. That full disclosure also includes disclosing in the summary of substantial facts. Because like I indicated earlier on, the summary of substantial facts also forms part of the evidence. So the prosecution is under a legal obligation. This is not a choice. They don't have a choice here. They are legally obliged and have to outline the summary of substantial facts together with the charges so that the accused persons become aware of the charges that they are facing in the Pretoria High Court. This is to allow them to prepare their defense. Now, what Gininda is doing here is a trial by ambush. You see, the accused persons come before court. The summary of substantial facts says nothing about Kelly Kumalo being the kingpin or mastermind. The charges are read to them, and somewhere along the way, when Brigadier Gininda faces cross-examination for the first time, and to the utter amazement of everybody, Kelly Kumalo emerges as the kingpin. This is an unfair trial. This is an unfair trial. This cannot be said by any means or in any man's language to be said to be a fair trial. This is not and cannot be allowed. And this is one of the reasons that the defense lawyers must take up on appeal. This is an unfair trial, courtesy of who? Brigadier Gininda. Courtesy of who? Baloyi. You see, it was Baloyi who, at the beginning of this trial, ought to have informed fully, should have informed fully the court whether or not Kelly Kumalo was a mastermind or kingpin. But we didn't do this. How then do we find ourselves in a situation where mid-trial, Kelly Kumalo is brought into the trial as a mastermind? You see, this trial there's something wrong with this trial. It must be appealed. And I'm sure that when it goes on appeal, the appeal is going to be upheld. I've never seen a trial as disastrous as the Senzo Meyiwa trial. You be the judge. Having said that, thank you for all the views that I'm seeing, and thank you for all the subscriptions that I'm seeing. Please continue to support this initiative and have a nice day.